That's live. All right.
You're listening to AZRadio.live's production of our Multisport Mojo podcast featuring Steve Harper and Captain Kurt Taylor. You can hear the Multisport Mojo wherever you get your podcasts. And now, without any further ado, here's Steve Harper and Kurt Taylor.
Hey, welcome all you triathletes, riders, rugby's 16-hour survivors. We're age group gurus doing the homework, gathering the insights, answering your questions to make you faster, fitter, and fresher in multisport training, and especially on a race day. I'm your host, Steve Harper, with Multisport Mojo and TriGearGuru.com, and alongside me is my good friend, Ironman certified coach Kurt Taylor.
Here I am.
Hey, we're both age groupers, Ironman, triathlon, and marathon vets, and everything else multisport in between, here to get you from start to finish. Remember, like us on Facebook at Multisport Mojo, that's all one word, where you can weigh in and ask questions, and we'll answer them in an upcoming podcast. Follow us on Twitter at hashtag Multisport Mojo, and go to TriGearGuru, that's TriGearGuru.com, for more content, insights, and great prices on everything triathlon. Running, go to RunGearGuru.com. Biking, RideGearGuru.com. Swimming, you get this, SwimGearGuru.com. Want multisport answers? We've got you covered. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching, specializing in getting you across the finish line in your first triathlon and beyond. Contact Try Hard on their Facebook page at Try Hard Coaching. AZRadio.live, your home for independent music artists. Discover them here and promote the betterment of your community. Big Mike's Recording Studio, recorded in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Big Mike.
Need to record an album, broadcast a radio show, polish up your blogs, Facebook Live feed, or even record a podcast. Contact Big Mike's Recording Studio at AZRadio.live and get all the polish of professional recording studio at a price that fits your startup budget. Kirk, we are in the house.
In the house.
It's Thursday. I'm gonna move that just barely.
We're playing Guess the Face.
Oh man!
But
Hey, listen.
the best view, I think, right now, here, unless I get over here,
Right? Yeah.
is on the Try Hard Coaching. That's where I'm hidden best. So if you're on Try Hard Coaching
where you're
Facebook
hidden.
page. But what do we have right here? What's the one in the middle?
This is YouTube Live on Multisport Mojo.
Okay, so
this
on
is Facebook Live at Multisport Mojo. You can catch us just about anywhere you want to catch us.
Yeah.
Soon to be on iTunes,
On the YouTube.
wherever you can find
on
your
the
podcasts.
Multisport Mojo YouTube, we're playing Guess the Face. So I make a face, and then I lift from the microphone after you guess. All right, Jimmy, what do I got now?
Nope.
Missed it. Okay, how about now? Okay, that's good. That's
you
enough
good?
for Guess the Face.
Man, hey, listen,
Fun.
it's we are heading into race season. We've got the Phoenix Mesa Marathon right around the corner. We're here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We've got Rock and Roll Marathon right around the corner. A lot of spring races, half marathons, 5, 10s, you name it. Spring race season is upon us. The Phoenix Mesa Marathon is in 2 weeks. We get a lot of people doing their first marathon. Yikes.
Yeah.
Wow, this will be big.
I talked with a mom last night doing her second,
Yeah.
which is fun. So she's got her first under her belt.
Right.
Yeah, we're here today to talk about that first marathon,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, what did your first marathon, what were you thinking as you got to race week? Were you mortified, terrified, petrified?
Race week. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
I believe my long run up to that point was 18. I don't think I'd ever done 20.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I hadn't ever. I don't think.
Were you nervous? What were you
Yes.
most nervous about? Just being able to finish?
I had heard that the roads were all slanted, weird. This was in San Diego. It was the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon.
Okay.
So I was a little nervous about that on my ankles. I don't
Really?
know. Yeah. What?
Why? I don't know. I mean, I think first marathon, kind of messes with your head.
Yeah.
Really, going
Yeah.
into race week, you get pretty neurotic about the whole thing.
I was nervous. Yeah. I was scared.
Oh yeah. I think that
It was a long time ago for you.
Right? Yeah, 20 plus years for my first marathon. I think the best thing about the first marathon is that you don't know so many of the things that in future races that you'll start to worry about. You know, you just, you lock it in, you go and you run. If you've got your mileage in and you feel confident, if you know what you've been eating, you know what you've been drinking, it's a bit of a simple production at that point. It's when you get to 10, 15, 20, where you think you get it dialed in. Sometimes I think we have it so dialed in that we can almost kind of take the fun out of it. It's more of a science project at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take my 6 goos. It's these specific goos. It's you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But first marathon, man, what a glorious thing. You've done the training. You're happy. Hopefully you're running with somebody or not. But let's talk about that stuff. But anyway, first marathon, how'd you do?
Okay. I was hoping for a 4-hour finish.
Yeah.
Or a little under 4. I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking that I might be able to do it. I really started to, my feet were killing me after 20 miles.
Really?
I think I was on pace up to that point. No, I must have fallen off pace a little bit before that point. Maybe good. I think so. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I stopped at a medical tent just to get some ibuprofen or something.
Right.
And so that took some time off
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
So maybe I was kind of pretty much on pace. Anyway, I stopped. You have to sign this thing. Okay, yeah, it's fine. I'm taking this, and I won't hold you liable, and blah blah blah. And so I took it. Was it 14? So okay,
Yeah.
respectable.
Did
for
you
the
have a
first one.
goal? Did you have a goal for your
Yeah,
first one?
I was kind of hoping under 4.
Under 4.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping the same thing. I was hoping under 4. I think I ran a 3:50.
Wow.
I didn't know any different. I didn't know if that was good or bad.
Man.
I didn't know years to come they weren't all going to be that easy. I just put my nose down and
Wow.
ran as hard as I could.
What was your first marathon?
St. George.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What a great race. Didn't know the hills. That race has got some rollers. It's got a couple pretty good lifts. It's got a couple pretty good descents. I didn't know any of that stuff. I wasn't worried about it. I just put my nose down.
You didn't know that it was mostly downhill?
No.
Really? Huh.
And you know what?
That's
I
interesting.
think people may have told me, but
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you know? I mean, I didn't have anything to base it off of. I didn't know that when I'd get out there, I'd watch what would become known in our running group as the brown vans of life. That I didn't realize
the
there
brown
were.
van of death.
No, it gives you right. I didn't know that people
Picks up the dead
could
people.
could get to a point in a race where they'd say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm done."
Yeah,
And on a
yeah.
downhill race, right now I know. You got to kind of watch yourself on downhills, or you destroy your legs if you go too
Oh, yeah.
fast. But I didn't know anything different. I just put my nose down and shot for something under 4 hours, and I was really happy.
Oh, you had to have been thrilled.
Right?
How did you feel after that, at that first finish line?
Uh,
Had you done other races building up to that?
Smaller, much smaller. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't do like
So
a
this was
5
kind of
and a
your-
10 and a half, and then
Yeah,
a couple of halves,
yeah.
and then a full. I was kind of a casual. I've been a high school athlete. I was running to stay fit, and I had some running buddies, right, that said,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's go do a marathon." Okay, all right.
Was it the first time for anyone else in your group?
I don't think so.
So everybody had already done one?
Yeah, they'd done a couple.
Okay.
We weren't
Yeah.
we weren't veterans by any stretch of the
Yeah, yeah.
imagination. We'd done a couple.
Yeah.
But we were, I mean, we didn't, you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's the wonderful thing about a first marathon, right? You pay a lot of attention going into the race on getting your miles in, you hope, right?
Yeah.
If you've done that, gosh, have a great day.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there you can learn and you start to dial it in. What,
But before we got to figure out how to get the questions off of the Facebook
I know
page here.
we just had one question come in from YouTube that talked about weight training. We can get to that in a sec.
Okay.
Weight training for a marathon. Should you, should you incorporate, what should you incorporate into your training? But let's talk about the marathon itself. Are all marathons the same? Is one marathon another marathon?
It's the same
another
distance,
marathon?
but
Yeah.
not the same race.
So why does that matter? Why does it matter?
Well, because like, let's just take St. George, for example. It
Yeah.
has a lot of downhill, and it can just really destroy your quads. It's very, very hard on the quads because
Right.
of all the downhill.
Right.
It can just be really agonizing. I mean, you think, oh, well, that makes it a whole lot easier because it's all downhill. Well, yeah, there is some truth to that,
Right.
but some of it is some pretty substantial downhills, long descents that just, it's a lot of pounding on your
Yeah.
quads.
So going into your first marathon, important to look at the kind of race that it is, the course elevation.
I think it's a
map.
really good idea to have some idea what the course is going to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that, if you're doing a race that is so casual or so new that there's no information on the course, you may want to reconsider and pick a different race.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about traveling. Yeah, certainly we live in Arizona, a lot of races in the valley. It's a great climate let's talk about the day before the race. Let's talk about that day before. You've got registration, or not registration, you've got to go and check in. You've got, which is always, usually they're right either next to or in the expo. You've got the race expo. Race morning we'll talk about that in a sec, but let's talk about the day before. Do you have a game plan going into that day before the race?
Yeah.
Generally?
Yes. Well, I'm really probably a horrible one to talk about this at this point because I'm kind of down to one marathon a year, and it happens to be in a town where I'm really just going for the food.
Well, that's one of the factors in choosing your race, right?
The marathon at this point is really just nothing more than an excuse to get together with friends and head up to southern Utah for a few days, and friends and family. That's what it is. And so the day before for me is how much can I eat and get away with it?
I'm sorry, we're having some connection issues on YouTube. And then we'll pick a time to get a good night's sleep. Really sleep in. Don't worry about the alarm clock, right? Figure out what time you're going to go down and check in. Get all of that done, right? That's number one. Number one is check-in. Don't leave check-in till later in the day, we're going to get to this, because you never know what's going to happen. And then some time to knowing if there's anything I need. If the kind of gel that I like, I know they're going to have it at the race.
Harper's got to do his shopping.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, listen. They've got everything at the expo. Now, I wouldn't recommend walking the expo for 2 hours and trying all the stuff and put everything on. Hey, I think I'm going to try this, and I think I'm going to try this new lotion. I think I'm going to try this new stick.
Sure.
I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend, though, knowing I need gloves, I need a long shirt. If there's stuff that you need, you can usually find it at the expo. So plan to make that happen there.
So here's a question for those of you who have done, a lot of other marathons in other places. Best deal ever this last St. George. They had a big, huge box filled with shirts from previous races. And was it $1 a shirt?
They were $1 shirt, which is great, because you think about race morning everything is in preparation for race morning on that day before, and usually knowing that race, it's a cold start, but it's a warmer finish, so you want to gear up in the beginning of the race, and especially pre-race start when you're standing around fires or heaters, or and instead of freezing, put a couple extra layers on, and then you toss them at spots where you could dump clothes along the way. But you don't want to dump your new Nike, or your new hoodie, right? You don't want to do that. So $1 shirt that's long sleeve, bam, that's big ticket
money.
Yeah,
awesome,
perfect.
That was the best deal ever. So I'm curious if there are deals that are similar to that. If you found really cool items at expos before, weigh in. That'd be really cool for people to. I'd love to see some comments about that. Maybe there's a race that you've done somewhere where they've got something that's really kind of cool and different at the expo.
Yeah, I know. I see a lot of people at Goodwills or thrift shops. They'll plan that for the day before, go and get a beanie and something over, spend $3 and be good to go.
It's a good idea.
All that stuff. Okay, let's talk about Eating. What are you gonna eat the day before?
I knew that was going to come up.
Besides pie.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that already. You got to stick with what works for you. I think that the carbo loading thing is, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a myth, personally. I know there's
You don't
some,
go for the big spaghetti dinner.
I know there's some science behind it, but go with what you know.
Yeah.
Right? If you haven't ever done a long run the morning after eating 10 pounds of spaghetti, well, you probably shouldn't do that for your first marathon.
Yeah.
Go with whatever you feel makes you comfortable.
Right.
And what you feel is going to be, because you're going to be nervous that next morning, and your plumbing is going to be working overtime, and unless you get there early and get a line for the porta potty, you could have some issues along the way. So I tend to go pretty easy on the intake, especially the morning of. I know you like to do a bagel and peanut butter and bananas.
Yeah. I've got the morning breakfast dialed in. It's the day before that at 20 plus years of, running races, I still am not dialed in. I think one of the things I learned from my first race was that I drank way too much the day before, because I know I had to go more than I did go, but I used the Porta-John, quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for bathrooms the day before every place we stopped. Oh, I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had a Gatorade in my hand all day long. Now I sip it, but I think I was putting them down. The whole idea or the notion of get hydrated before the race, I think is good. And I think that's another thing you need to dial in during your training.
Yep.
Figure out how much water you really need to drink, and don't overdo it the day before. That's one of the big ahas for me.
That's something you need to keep in mind and be conscious of when you're doing your long runs in training, right?
Yeah.
So instead of trying to figure out, okay, what should I be eating the day before? What should I be eating the morning of? Well, you should have, a lot of long runs to kind of get that figured out. Just say, okay, tomorrow, Saturday morning, we're doing 18, we're doing 20, we're doing, 16, whatever it is. Well, treat the day before that, treat that Friday night and that Saturday morning like you would a race day.
Yeah.
Totally
agree. Totally agree. I think there were a lot of long runs where for me, this is learning what I wish, this is all about what I wish I knew before my first marathon. I wish I would have learned how to eat before my long runs.
Right.
I think a lot of times I would get up, throw the stuff on, grab a Gatorade, grab a couple of goos, throw them, and meet my buddies right at the trailhead or where
Right.
we're going to start and go.
Yeah.
And on race morning, I then decide to have a bagel and with peanut butter and bananas, and it's
Right.
a whole, and your stomach's like, whoa, hang on, what do we
Yeah.
got going on here? I'm already trying to digest that ginormous bowl of spaghetti you threw me last night. What are we doing here?
Yeah, well, what I wish I knew before my first marathon is, hey, just treat it the way you've treated your other long runs. What you've eaten the night before, what you've eaten the morning of your
Right.
long runs.
Yeah.
Do that. Do that on race day, assuming that you found something that works for you. What works for me is just kind of eat normal, right? The night before, and I really never have anything before a run. The most I do now before marathon, maybe half a banana. For me, it's just essentially
Potassium
nothing.
shot.
Yeah, I know, because I know that I'll be taking stuff during
Right.
electrolytes. I've got my little electrolytes, and I've got, but I use that in training, right?
Right.
I'm taking the water.
Nothing new.
And right. So,
What time do you go to bed on the night before a race?
I don't know, 9. I try to get to bed pretty early.
Yeah. What time? Because what time you get out?
9:30, 10, 4.
Yeah.
But again, then see, that's nothing different than training.
Right. Well, here's another what I wish I knew. I wish that I knew, because I was going to eat so much and drink so much before my first marathon, how much time I would need in the bathroom before we got out the door to get to the bus to get to the race start.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
which I know it's maybe it sounds a little comical, but that's a for real deal. Bathroom time.
Oh, it can be just miserable too. You know, you can be standing in line and you see, oh my gosh, the race is supposed to start in 5 minutes, and I've got another 20 minents of people ahead of me here
Right.
for the porta potty.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, right. I mean, there's a reason there are 60 porta potties. That may be exaggerated, but there's from as far as you can see porta johns, you know, at a race start. So plan on some bathroom time because you've
Yeah.
been drinking, you've been carb loading,
Yeah.
it is not your normal intake. And it's all got to go somewhere, and you don't want to have it while you're running. Okay, let's talk about race morning. It's a 6:30 start. You're up at, I don't know, 4-ish sometime. You're going to factor in time to get to the race start, whether they're bussing you up or whether it's a gathering point, whatever that is for your race. Talk about race morning. Do you have any, what do you wish you knew on your first race morning?
what I wish I knew on race morning.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's a really good question. I don't know. Give me a second. What do you say?
Well, I think for me it was. I think here's where you just don't know what you don't know. So I would just do the same things that you've done on your long runs, right? I think I wish I would have known, to use the bathroom, just to plan a little time for the bathroom. I didn't start eating, or have that nutrition dialed in. So for me, I don't like to eat a lot the day before, but I do like to have something that's solid that my stomach can work on, because I don't want to. I'm going to take some gels throughout the day. I'm going to take some sports drink throughout the day. I think I wish I would have known that there was going to be Gatorade Endurance at the race instead of regular Gatorade, two totally different things. So I've started, since then I've started training with Gatorade Endurance. It's a totally different sports drink,
So, yeah, we got to get to these questions because I see them popping up.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if
let's
they're
talk.
popping up on YouTube or if it's
Yeah, this
coming
one's
in
popping. Well, I think one's popped
a
up on
text.
at least on core workouts on lifting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there are questions here.
Did you do any core work or any? Did you do any weights?
Oh yeah, I was doing a lot of strength
Were you
training.
doing that?
Yeah, 3 times a week.
Yeah. Did that help going into your first marathon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
See, no, I didn't do that. I was just running and eating.
Yeah, and
trying
you
to
did a
be
350
fit.
and I did a 416. So
Well, different
maybe you
strokes.
shouldn't be hitting the weights.
I don't know. Oh, I think I should have been doing core workout. What about stretching? What about, would you incorporate stretching,
Yeah.
static and dynamic into your runs?
Of course. Yeah.
And then race
Absolutely.
day?
Same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same thing. So here's actually, I thought of something that I think would have been helpful for me for that first race. And for anybody for their first race, or if you're going to do a particular race for the first time. Let's say maybe it's your 15th marathon, but you've never done Boston. Okay, let's just say as an example. You want to know where you're going and when you need to be there and how to get there. What a frustration it can be if you're sitting there trying to figure out on your map and trying to, you don't need that kind of stress before the race. You just want to know, okay, I need to get in the car at 4 in the morning, or I have to hop in the shuttle at 4:30, or whatever the case may be. Know where you need to be, what time you need to be there,
Exactly.
and how to.
Knowing exactly what's going to happen, where we need to be, what time we're getting up, when we're going to arrive, because you don't want to miss. I mean, you've got all of that work into it, right? You want to just be very specific about it.
Totally.
Talk about factors on running with a group. Did you run by yourself?
It's just me. It was a lonely experience.
Yeah.
I didn't really make any friends along the way. Yeah, it was just me. I think it's funny, I can't remember, but I would guess that I had my music in my ears.
Right.
Did
Did you consider running with friends or buddy? Did you know anybody else at the
No,
race?
no, didn't know anybody else that was doing it.
So you knew you were going solo.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a an accomplishment I really wanted to do. It was just
Right.
something I really wanted
Right.
to do, and
And you trained solo, so you
I
knew
did.
mentally, what you were in for. And
Yeah.
now,
oh, way better.
yeah,
Oh, it's a world of difference.
yeah. Why?
Yeah, well, because it makes the miles go by so much faster.
Oh man.
When you've got, someone to chat with on your training runs, you got somebody to chat with the race. I mean, unless you're, really serious and you gotta go for it, and you don't really have time to sit there
Right.
and chat.
Right.
But if it's kind of a casual thing, oh, it's so much better when you've got friends
Right.
that, that's half of the experience, really.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and one of the other things I love about running with friends, especially if you've been training with these friends, right? You're all in about that same pace.
Yep.
You're not going to have to worry about getting spread out. Although I think it does happen. The
Yeah.
thing I really like about running with friends is that eventually, at some point during the race, it's gonna go sideways.
Right.
I think that's one of the big ahas for me. What I wish I knew after my first marathon.
And
was
so what
that-
do you do when your friends are like 5 minutes ahead of you for, for 3 hours?
Well, then I think you let him. Then you. Well, then you give him an earful at the end of the race. Could you
That's
just
right.
waited for 5? Could you just stop? You didn't. I didn't need to see you out there like it, right? But I think at some point,
Yeah.
there's some hard. It feels like a life or death, decision to make. Hey, listen, you guys just go. I'm not feeling good, or I've had buddies say, hey, look, I'm going to stay with you because I know my time is coming. Because really, whether you've got a bathroom issue or you get really sore or you're gassed or you hit that proverbial wall, at some
Right.
point during the race, it's going to get difficult. And if you've got friends, my experience, what I wish I knew, was that then you get past it. You get past that really hard moment.
Totally.
And then you're good to go again. But then you're there for your buddy when he puts his hat on side of his head and it gets hard. I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna die right here on this side of the road. Somebody just clean me up. When that happens, then you can be there for them. Let's go, man. Come on, we got it.
So here's a question. Another question for y'all to weigh in on. If you run, be it friends or a running club, okay, do your buddies leave you behind, or do you have a no man left behind policy? Okay, no runner left behind. Is that your policy? Are you the one who will hang with the last guy, or are you the one who will finish 5 minutes ahead of everybody else and turn around? Oh, hey, I didn't realize you were just 20 yards behind me the last 90 minutes.
Yeah. Well, if everybody else is running, if you run with friends, I hope you're chuckling at this because we've got a few of those. This is the guy that will stick with you through whatever you need to get through. And I think it's because you've got so many races under your belt that sticking back with a buddy, oftentimes for you, brings you.
Absolutely.
That has been because I've been the guy that you've come back for. At the same time, in our running group, and we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, it grows, kind of stretches, shrinks.
I do enjoy that. That brings more happiness to me, hanging with somebody, being there for somebody, than finishing 20 minutes sooner.
Yeah, I love
Totally.
that. But on the
Yeah.
converse, we'll get to a point in the race, in a marathon, good, and somebody wants to go, right?
Uh-huh.
You say, dude,
Yeah.
go. But
Yeah.
you know what? I think it's important to check.
Yeah.
I think our friends, our buddies
Sure.
will say, hey, listen, I'm feeling really good. How are you doing? Oh, no.
Right.
I'm not gonna. Okay, go,
Yeah.
and go and get a good time. But I think you don't want to just, well, I've also been left. I've gone to the bathroom, hit a porta-john, come out, whoop.
Right.
Where did everybody go?
Yeah.
Where did everybody go? So you don't want, our group that we run with are all pretty good. If that decision comes up, we'll see how it comes. So you don't want to totally bail on somebody either, right? Especially when I've done a 20. Hopefully I can get to 20.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when I get to 20. Good to have somebody there.
Okay. this is really killing me here. Why we can't see the posts,
Oh, no. Okay,
right?
well,
So,
I'll tell you
I
what,
don't-
here.
but we're
what,
kind of
we'll-
running
we'll
out of
get to
time,
them.
I think.
We'll, you know what, we'll answer questions.
Oh yeah, we are out of time.
Yeah. Anything else? What about a pace group real quick? Should you run with a pace group?
No, not for an entire marathon.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I've ran next to them and then either gone ahead or fell behind.
Right.
But yeah, I think a pace group can be pretty handy.
Yeah, I think so as well. I've never run with a pace group. I've gotten the wristbands that tell me mileage that help me to pace myself. I've used pace groups for motivation, either to stay in front
Right.
of a pace group
Yeah.
or to try and catch a pace group.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll do that on just about every race.
Yeah.
But I think it's great, especially if you're solo or if you've got a time you want to make. If you're solo, especially, man, that whole, the notion we talk on having support solo going into your first race. I'd look really, I know Cliff sponsors a lot of the pace groups. You'll get to know, they'll have an individual pacer who will stay on that time. Their goal is to get you in on that time.
Yeah.
And will do a good job throughout the day. And you'll have a whole group of people who are running your speed, who you can talk to, and you'll get to know friends.
Yep.
Super good. Anything else going in? Any last bit of wisdom going into what you wish you knew in your first marathon?
I like to have a treat at the end. So every marathon may have some sort of swag or whatever, but for me it's a Hostess fruit pie. I have a little cherry pie in the box that's sitting there waiting for me at the hotel or back at home.
Really?
And so yeah, and so
I never knew this.
yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean aside from all the other food, of course, but no, it's that Hostess cherry pie. That's my little carrot dangling out
Yeah,
there.
nice.
Yeah. What about you?
It's a cheeseburger for sure.
Oh,
It's a cheeseburger. And depending on the race location, I've already got one I spied.
Perfect.
We do St. George every year. I know I go to the Habit. I get the Santa Barbara. Oh, man. And I am thinking about it at about mile 13. I start to think about that cheeseburger. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. Hey, well, that's all the time we've got. Hey, Kirk, I want to thank you for joining and everyone else for joining us today. Hey, remember to like us on Facebook at Multisport Mojo, all one word, where you can weigh in and ask questions, and we'll answer them in an upcoming broadcast. Follow us on Twitter at #MultisportMojo, and go to TryGearGuru.com for more content and insights and great prices on everything triathlon. Thank you to our sponsors, Try Hard Triathlon Coaching. Contact Try Hard, T-R-I Hard, on their Facebook page at Try Hard Coaching. AZRadio.live, your home for independent music artists. Discover them here and promote the betterment of your community. And Big Mike's Recording Studio in the house. Contact Big Mike's Recording Studio at AZRadio.live and get all the polish of a professional recording studio at a price that fits your startup budget. This is the Multisport Mojo podcast. Multisport age group gurus doing all the homework, gathering all the insights, answering all your questions to make us all faster, fitter, and fresher in multisport training and on race day. Here to help get you from start to finish. Hey, see you next time.